Lucian Live 2026, April 19th through 22nd in beautiful Denver, Colorado, advancing infinite possibilities. And it's higher education without limits. Don't just keep up with change, lead it. Higher education leaders from around the world are coming together at Lucian Live 2026. Across 4 unforgettable days, discover new ways to meet students where they are and make the most of your technology through inspiring sessions and hands-on demos. Together, we're leveraging AI to create deeper human connections, support every student's journey, and open doors to lifelong learning. See you in Denver. Register now at elive.elucian.com. It's going to be
amazing.
Welcome back, everybody. It's your time to EdUp on the EdUp Experience podcast, where we make education your business. This is Elvin Freitas, co-founder of the EdUp Experience, and we are back on another episode. And with me today, I have my co-host who has been on before as a guest and a guest co-host. He is Samir Qureshi, and he is executive chairman of the board at NAC. Samir, how you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me back, Elvin.
Yeah, thanks for coming back. So real quick, for those who may not know of NAC, please let us know all about NAC.
Yeah, NAC is a leading peer-to-peer tutoring platform for colleges and universities. We're helping institutions improve student retention and completion using a peer-to-peer learning model where high-achieving students get a job to help others on campus through our platform. I've been around for over a decade and rolled out on over 100 campuses across the country. So awesome to be here again.
Awesome. Thanks for letting us know about NAC, which I'm a big fan of, by the way. Love the concept, love the mission. So today we're going to bring back a former guest. He was on back in October of 2023, and he is Andrew Shuey. He's the president of the College of Charleston. Andrew, welcome back. How you doing?
Thank you, Alvin. Doing great. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. So last time you were here, 2023. Let us know about the College of Charleston, right? And then in case people don't know, who you are, what you do, and all that good stuff. But let us know also, how's it been since 2023?
Yeah, as you know, the College of Charleston is a public school located at downtown Charleston, and we have been doing great over the last few years. I've been here almost 7 years, and we were able to move from having about 11,000 applicants to now last year with 32,000 applicants for our 2,300 spots, and this year's number promises to be up again compared to last year's record number. We're now enrolling just shy of 12,000 students, which is the highest in our 256 years history. We're expanding into new fields in terms of offerings. We certainly are offering majors in entrepreneurship, data sciences, AI, and so forth. But we're also growing in doctoral programs. We now we have enrolled last fall about 40 some doctoral students for the first time, some PhD, some doctoral of education, and then with our Doctor of Business Administration being launched this spring, we'll see more doctoral students. So, and in terms of our campus, this is similar to what Samir's company is doing. We continue to focus on student experience and ways to enhance it. This fall, we launched the Life Design Center and a Center for Intentionality, both of which provide coaching and help students discover goals and craft purpose-driven lives. Our philanthropy is growing by leaps and bounds. It's thanks to our alumni and friends. For example, a local family foundation is assisting the college in acquiring a fairly large office building in the center of downtown Charleston, and this spot will become the new home of our School of Business, strengthening both the college and the city. And we just announced, in fact, last Friday, 2 days ago, a new named school, the Mike and Amy Bennett School of Hospitality and Tourism Management, which will hopefully help us put a nationally recognized program on our campus. So a lot of great things happening here.
I gotta say, that's amazing. First of all, congratulations to you, the team. And I'm gonna ask my follow-up question and hand it over to Samir. So my follow-up question is, we have a lot of college presidents listening to this, a lot of board of trustee members. We have a lot of people in the C-suite in ed tech and business world. What is your secret, Andrew? How in the world are you doing? There's got to be something you're reading, you're doing. What is the secret that you're able to just put it all together? Please tell us.
Yeah, so I think the secret it's probably a shotgun approach. I mean, there's not a single thing that you can do in higher ed in this challenging time to make an institution great. And obviously, we're benefiting from the fact that students are now looking into the South, and Charleston is a great, you know, oceanside, beachside, beach. I wouldn't call it a beach town, but certainly it's a gorgeous historic city that is only minutes away from the beaches, but more importantly, I think the fact that we're focusing on undergraduate education, the fact that we're focusing on student success and making sure that every student gets their attention, and also build signature programs that are nationally known, like the hospitality and tourism program. And for example, the city itself is really recognized for its hospitality and tourism. It's voted by the readers of Leisure and Travel magazine as as the top city for tourism for probably 10 years in a row by now. And it's just natural for us to develop a one of the best hospitality and tourism programs. The city is the lab for our students. And we're also starting programs such as nursing and engineering, where we're the only city, I guess, at least in North America, if not in the world, where both airplane and cars are built. We have Boeing here building Boeing 787. We have Volvo here. We have Mercedes-Benz vans. We have Bosch and so forth. I mean, we just have a lot going for our students as a real world experiential learning lab.
So it sounds like you really know who you are and you figure out a way to take advantage of that. That's what I heard.
I think finding the niche is the key.
Yeah.
If you want to name one thing that made us successful.
Yeah, fantastic. Appreciate that. Samir, over to you, sir.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And like I said, I had a chance to be in Charleston for the first time and on campus, and it truly is a historic and beautiful campus. So it's got to be an amazing feeling to be on such a cool institution's grounds and be leading there. It's interesting, President Xu. You launched a 10-year plan at Charleston, and one of the things as now former CEO I thought a lot about is how do you take an idea or process on a document and actually turn that into something that can change behavior and drive to outcomes every day. And as a former engineer who's entered higher ed, I am curious how this vision that you may put on paper or a plan that may be out there strategically into day-to-day actions to ensure that your team and ultimately your students are receiving the best and by the best, let's say.
Yeah, sure. I think first of all, you have to know where you want to go, or else you can't get there, right? So that's why a strategic plan is very important. The second thing is that if you want to make changes in higher education, now I might mention higher ed is by design a very slow moving institution, and it's really hard to make changes. And the only way that you can effect effective changes is to have everybody on board. Unless you have the buy-in of your faculty and staff, and alumni and so forth, your community, then it's going to be really, really hard to make any changes on the university campus. So, what we did on this campus is that we spent an entire academic year to develop that strategic plan. We made sure that it was with every constituency's input, and we also made sure that we iterate multiple times to make sure that we um, include everybody's input. And that doesn't mean the leaders can influence the direction. It only means that you spend enough time to talk to people and help people understand the vision, the direction, and so forth. So as once you have that buy-in, it's just so much easier to implement. But on the other hand, you still have to, I guess as an engineer, I should be using an engineering analogy, but I'm going to use a sports analogy. You have to constantly keep your eyes on the ball and make sure that you're moving in the right direction. So what we do is we use our strategic plan almost as a GPS and refer to it on a regular basis and report about the results on a regular basis to make sure that we're moving in the right direction. I think in higher ed, as I mentioned, because it's a slow moving institution, it's really, really easy to lose sight of where you want to go. And so you have to constantly check your direction and make sure that you're moving um, in the right direction.
Sense. Yeah, I am curious with the gains that you've led in retention and graduation, and now are overseeing a lot of the growth at Charleston. When you think about student success, what have you learned actually moves the needle versus what just sounds good on a plan? As far as whether it's tactics, approaches, strategies, like where do you feel like things are really starting to pay off, and that's because of X, Y, or Z that you all have implemented?
Sure. So I think student demand and student expectation of their college experience is changing, and we really need to pay attention to those expectations and demands. And to me, uh, many of our faculty would not agree with me. Um, but to me, higher education is in the service business, right? And if you're in the service business, you have to know what the customers, um, what customers' expectations are, and without that, you can't offer a satisfactory um, experience for the students. And the fact is that expectations are changing. Students are more and more um, expecting a degree that would help them launch a successful career. Um, Job readiness is becoming a number one um, goal for the families who are paying the tuition for the students to get a college degree, and the students are hoping to graduate without debt, and so on and so forth. So I think once you know that's what you need to pay attention to, then there are a few things that you have to do in order to ensure student success, right? One is that you have to offer the academic programs that students want. And two, you have to evolve existing academic programs to make sure that students are career ready. For example, AI, I know last time when I was with EdUp, we talked about AI a little bit, but now AI has become more prominent, and all the employers, when they interview new employees, new college grad, they're asking if the students or the graduate know how to use AI. So we're, for example, trying to incorporate AI into all of our curriculum. So academic offering is certainly one thing. And the other thing really is sort of the personal attention to make sure that every student get the attention and get the special support that they need um, to pursue a successful academic career in college. So, I mentioned the fact that we now have a student success center called Design Your Life, and we have another center called Center of Intentionality. Those are all centers that are trying to provide students with the coaching um, through their career. The hope is that those coaching would make a difference in their life, not only just for the next 4 years, but it would set them up such that they have a goal for their life, for their career, and they have a plan to pursue that goal and those career goals. So I think the individual attention coaching is sort of the key for us to really move the needle.
Sure. I love that. And, it's interesting. There's so many different approaches. There's like AI nudging and AI advising and coaching. There's the human side of it. There are approaches where you blend the best of both. And I think that's truly where the future is. But I am also curious, President Xu, micro credentials seem to be something you've sort of focused on or have really implemented. And it's an interesting world, right? Coursera merging with Udemy, and there's so much changing in the space. But I'm also curious, you've added engineering, micro credentials. How do you think about academic programs that are worth investing in, and then the form factor? What went through your thinking and your approach when thinking, do we go micro? Do we go full-fledged? Right? Did you all do that totally on your own? Did you involve partners? Walk me through that process.
Attention.
It's time to register for Lucian Live, April 19th through 22nd, 2026 in Denver, Colorado, advancing infinite possibilities. And it's higher education without limits. Don't just keep up with change, lead it. Higher ed leaders from around the world are coming together at Lucian Live 2026. Across 4 unforgettable days, you'll discover new ways to meet students where they are and make the most of your technology through inspiring sessions and hands-on demos. Together, we're leveraging AI to create deeper human connections, support every student's journey, and open doors to lifelong learning. See you in Denver. Register now at elive.elucian.com.
Yeah, so I just first want to touch on your talk about AI and the personal attention to student success, and certainly we have used AI to support our students. We have a chatbot that helps students, and students seem to be more comfortable talking to AI than they are talking to advisors. But that being said, I still think the personal attention is important. But going back to your question about academic programs and micro-credentials, again, I think the 21st century economy, what we're moving into, is very different from the last century. So we have to rethink all the disciplines, not just the STEM areas, right? So, for example, if you're a political scientist, in the past, you probably didn't have to know, or in the past, I mean, in the last century, you probably didn't have to know a lot of technology. But nowadays, if you don't know, big data and data analytics and so forth, you probably wouldn't be a very successful political scientist, or at least it wouldn't be a very successful campaign staff, right? So uh, I think that analogy could be applied to any number of disciplines and majors. So this is why we partnered with Coursera early on as one of the first campuses to offer micro-credentials to our students. And we, of course, first trained the trainers. We offered workshops in the summer to teach our faculty, and provided summer grants for faculty to uh, learn the micro credentials themselves, and learn how to, or figure out how to incorporate some of the micro credentials into their courses. So we're approaching this two ways. One is that any student, we made the Coursera micro-credentials. Those are, by the way, all industry branded micro-credentials like Google, Cisco, and IBM, and so forth. We made them available to all of our faculty, staff, students, alumni. And so anybody who wants to get a micro credential to advance their own career, it's available. And certainly we encourage our students to do that on their own. And many of our students do sign up to some of these micro credentials on their own. But more importantly, what we're trying to do is asking our faculty to incorporate some of the micro credentials into their courses, so that students are required to do a certain micro credential, and will have that micro credential once they finish their coursework for credit. And the advantage of that is that students don't have to spend extra time on their own to get a micro credential. And of course, you probably know Coursera had studies that show, a liberal arts student, for example, with or without a micro credential, their starting salary would be $20,000, right? So, which means that these micro credentials are really what employers are looking for.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And I am curious, it's you've kind of worked at NASA, you worked at Rolls-Royce, multiple universities, on this notion of industry and higher ed, and maybe the alignment or lack thereof that exists. What do you think higher ed still needs to learn from industry?
Yeah, I think one thing, if there's one thing that a higher ed really needs to learn from industry, is the speed of change and the need for change. Because of my industry experience, I sort of know that already, but I don't think higher ed in general realizes that need. We, at one point, I had the former CEO of BMW here in South Carolina as my senior vice president for industry engagement and innovation. And he always said that at BMW, the best time to introduce a new model is when your current model is doing best or doing really, really well. Because if you don't start developing new models, you'll see your current model eventually decline and your business share being taken away from you. And higher ed tends to operate reactively and act much later, oftentimes too late. With the current demographic shift in the nation, or you could call it demographic cliff, where there are fewer students. I think clearly for some smaller institutions, the change was made too late, and you see many of them go out of business, and many of them went out of business even last year, 14 of them. So I do think making changes to make sure that your institution stays relevant is something that we really need to learn from industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious, this might be a question that stumps you for a moment, but what's something that maybe you've changed your mind on about higher ed over the last 5, 10 years?
Uh, I guess I don't think I've changed my mind on anything really. If anything, I learned to be more patient. Coming from industry, and being sort of primarily a researcher running my own research lab in the past, I've always wanted things done quickly, and that sort of built in my my gene, and I just always had that expectation. But coming to South Carolina, uh, and at the head of a historic institution that was here for 256 years, it has taught me patience and the fact that and at the same time perseverance. Right? If you keep at it, you'll eventually achieve your goal. But in higher ed, you just have to realize that nothing happens instantaneously.
Yeah. Yeah. And with that, say you were advising a new president who's coming in of a mid-sized public university today, what 2 or 3 priorities would you maybe tell them to focus on in their first 18 months?
Yeah, I think the first thing I would say is figuring out what your institution, who you are, and like I said earlier, the demographic cliff is real, and we're already seeing higher education becoming more competitive, and in the meantime, you also see the trend of where students are more and more wanting to go to the state flagship universities. So that makes the sort of mid-sized universities, their jobs so much harder, and you really need to figure out where is your niche and what types of students and geographic locations you attract students from, and make sure that you excel in your own area to stay competitive. So I would say that's probably the first one. And the second one is to really uh, make sure that your institution knows um, your vision and where the university is going. And I mentioned developing that vision uh, collaboratively with the campus. And the goal of that is to make sure that the vision of a new leader is well known to the institution, or else it's going to be very difficult to make any changes. So those two are probably my first advice.
Awesome. And to pivot a little bit more on the personal front, and maybe how this connects to your work, you're a parent of 4 daughters and a campus leader, right? I'm curious how being a parent has influenced the decisions you've made as president about supporting, say, student well-being, holistic wellness for students, and overall campus support.
Yeah, so I think as a father of 4 daughters, it really does help me understand this new generation of students quite a bit, and oftentimes I would consult my daughters about what's going on campus, just try to better understand, why is our students reacting to something this way or that way, which to me didn't make sense, but to an 18, 20-year-old, it makes perfect sense. One example is that uh, I, I developed a playlist on Spotify, and every final week we would release a playlist, and that all came from my college girls, and initially the suggestions of the songs all came from them. So it does help to sort of have some inside information for this age group.
That's awesome. And I gotta say, you're a saint. I'm a I'm a dad of two girls. I'm a girl dad. And you got four, so you're a saint. I'm living half your life, man.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great. So, all right, Andrew, before I ask you the last question, I do want to know real quick. You mentioned the campus is AI integrated. Tell us your AI story. Can you just detail a bit more about what that means and how for the students, the staff, faculty, in terms of AI? Real quick.
Yeah, so a little bit of background, and early on we realized that AI is sort of going to be the next industrial revolution, and we sort of decided to move on it very quickly. And in the South, we're accredited by SAC-COC, which is the Southern Association of Colleges and Universities. And every 10 years we get reaccredited, and SAC-COC requires all the Southern schools that are accredited by SAC-COC um, to to start a QEP program. QEP stands for Quality Enhancement Program. And it's a 10-year program that the school has to embark on that should affect both your university operation efficiency as well as curriculum and so forth. So our last QEP was sustainability, and we did a great job for 10 years on that. And we chose our next QEP was just selected this January, or actually we selected it last spring, but formally launched it in January. Our next QEP, or our current QEP now, is intentional AI. So we have been, in fact, incorporating AI in all sorts of operations, backroom operations. I mentioned earlier our AI chatbot for student support. In fact, we run probably the first AI development officer for fundraising, and we have the honor of closing the first AI closed or developed donations in the country last year. So, uh, obviously in our marketing and communications department, in our business department, we were trying to incorporate AI. But more importantly, we started about 2 years ago to help faculty understand the importance of AI. We have a Center for Teaching Excellence, which is basically a center that helps faculty to be better teachers, and that center has organized summer workshops, and we offered summer grants to faculty and so forth to help faculty to incorporate AI into the curriculum. So we're trying to figure out not only what to teach, but how to teach AI and so forth. So when AI first burst into the scene, a lot of the faculty were alarmed, saying, "Oh no, students are cheating with AI. We can't allow students to use AI. We can't teach them about AI." But now I think with our effort, our campus at least are no longer debating that, right? We're now talking about how to teach AI and what to teach.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, with that, last question for you, Andrew. What do you see as the future of higher education? And also, if you want to talk about the College of Charleston, what's going to happen in the future?
Yeah, so I think as I mentioned, because of this demographic shift, and because of the um, the sort of um, I think the challenges that we face about the attitudes about the need for a college degree, all of those are making higher education more challenging and more difficult and more competitive. So I do think that in order to stay relevant, all of us have to rethink um, what we're offering as curriculum, and we do need to evolve our curriculum to meet the workforce needs. And as far as the College of Charleston is concerned, I mentioned about our passion for integrating AI into our curriculum. We talked about we want to prepare our students for the future workforce needs. And of course, the other thing that is happening at the College of Charleston is that we are actively partnering with industry and businesses to try to improve education. And Samir was asking me earlier, my experience with industry and what we need to learn from industry. And I think one way to learn from industry really is to have that close partnership, to have them help us evolve our curriculum and higher education.
Fantastic. I love that. A great conversation. Let me outro my guest co-host today. He is Samir Qureshi. He's the executive chairman of the board at NAC. Samir, thank you as always for being with us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks so much, Elvin, and President Xu. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely. And let's outro him. He is Andrew the Saint Xu. He's the president of the College of Charleston. Andrew, thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate it.
Well, thanks again, Elvin, for having me on this program a second time.
Absolutely. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, you've just EdUp'd.
Ellucian Live 2026 is taking place April 19th through 22nd, 2026 in Denver, Colorado. Advancing infinite possibilities. Turn innovation into action with AI-powered solutions, student-first strategies, and a global network of fellow leaders at Ellucian Live 2026, higher education's premier global technology conference. It's going to be
Amazing!